Well, my name is David Bell. I got two job titles. I'm chairman of the Financial Times, but also chairman of the Transformation Trust. It was the brainchild of an organisation called Partnership for Schools, which is heavily involved in rebuilding a large chunk of Britain's schools. And they had the idea that it would be very, very important that these new schools were not just physically fantastic, which they are, but that also that they really sparkled. And what I think they meant by sparkle was that as well as brilliantly inside the school, at the end of the day, outside the curriculum, there would also be an opportunity for students to do all kinds of things which they might not otherwise do. For example, we have a great program to take kids who are interested in engineering, boys and girls, and to work with some of the Formula One team to really get to understand the reality of engineering, not the theory of it, which may be sometimes a bit boring, but the actual reality of how exciting it is to build racing cars and to develop it. So they had the idea to set up the Transformation Trust, and we have the job of raising the money to make that possible. Basically, it's a funding operation, but it's a bit more than that, because we believe passionately that we want every child to have a chance to say, I would love to do that, and then to have a chance to do it. Well, I think the Financial Times is kind of my day job, but that doesn't mean this isn't very, very important, because it's so important for the future of the country that we have people all over it who believe they can do things and then find out they really can. I liked secondary school more than primary school, and I did love some of the subjects I did, so yes, I did enjoy it. My father was a school teacher, so I thought it was a bit of, no, but in terms of being a journalist, my mother disapproved strongly of journalism. She thought I ought to be a lawyer, but she was wrong. Well, I started out as a journalist actually on a local newspaper in Oxford, and then I went to the Financial Times and I did all kinds of jobs in the editorial part of the newspaper, and then I was transferred to the commercial side, and then I ended up running it, and then time passed and I ended up being chairman of it. I've worked for the Financial Times for several centuries. When you're young and you look at a career, you're transfixed by the idea you might get stuck doing the same thing forever. And that's right to be transfixed by that. But it is possible to do all kinds of different things within one company if you're lucky, or alternatively, of course, to do lots of different things in several companies. I always loved newspapers. I always loved trying to understand, news is fundamentally about people. And then I became interested not just in writing, which I did for a while, but how do you organize a newspaper? How do you get it to communicate with people? I suppose I've always really liked that. I edited the university newspaper when I was at university, which I really enjoyed. I went to a local newspaper where that was a very local news, which is very different from the kind of news the Financial Times covers, except that it's all to do, again, with people. I was very proud of that story. It was a really good story. It was about a lion that lived in the back garden of a council house outside Oxford and liked ice cream. It had a picture of this lion at the back of the house, and then a story, and at the bottom it said, by David Bell. And I was living in one room in Oxford at the time, and the next day I went to the fish and chip shop to get my supper. And, I lifted up a chip, and it said, by David Bell. So I kind of figured out then that life is a bit here today and gone tomorrow.